I was saying that with setting up Conscious 2, that for a number of years before, I had a sense that I wanted to be doing something like that, but it took time for it to really become clear. And it took time for the idea to fully emerge. And I think when we get to the point that we do get the clarity, the tendency can be to hold back or to find excuses or to find a reason why we can't do it. And that's the time we have to have the conviction and the courage and the determination to step up and to do it, and to go for it. And when Conscious 2 actually started, I was still spending a lot of time running my previous business. And a lot of the time for Conscious 2 was in the evenings and late into the evenings and trying to find windows of time. And I think it comes down to what we prioritize being most important. And, in my life these days, every moment is precious. Right? And right now I'm in the back of it going home. Right, and every day I get driven to and from work, and I use that time to work as well. And so when I get home, I can have time with my wife and children. So it's just taking every moment and using it the best you can.
Yes, it is. But it is boring.
It's boring?
Yes, because I should... before, I was fast and expressive, not very balanced, not balanced enough to nurture myself. Then I had time to nurture myself and became more balanced. But I do slower to be in the same level with my clients, with people need me to be in similar speed. Do you know Einstein theory? Not to be in different speed.
It sounds like there's maybe something about managing your own state, and if you're spending a lot of time with people that are impacting your state, making sure you have ways to recondition your state outside of that.
So maybe now I need time to transform my time using or the direction of work, not only with people. Maybe now more productive would be some scientific works.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think one of the things that when you're creating something or building something that you're passionate about and care about, much of that can be tedious. And as I was saying in the interview earlier, there are moments which are wonderful and magical, but much of it is grit and it's struggle and it's tedious. And it's how do you best support yourself and maintain your focus through those times.
Yes, with myself I have magic moments a lot. So thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's get over to Hans.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, wow. I'm always struggling. These Fridays are always so long days for me, and then my brain is starting to shut down, and then I'm absorbing all the beautiful information that you guys are giving. And thank you so much, Alex. I really enjoyed that conversation earlier on. Yes, it resonates a lot with me. I think what you pointed to, that because you love so much what you are doing now, that is kind of like a source fooling itself, I think you said. So you can, because it just seems to me, I mean, you are doing so many things, and I wondered how is it possible to do so many things? How to squeeze them all in one day? I think, yes, it must be because you just really love what you're doing. And I am at the moment a bit in a place because I started a new job a few months ago, and I'm working now in the field. I'm a social worker in Berlin, and I'm working with refugees. And it's just, before I started this job, I was a bit more under the illusion that I was pretty much in peace with myself and everything was in harmony and easygoing. But now there's so much information, there's so much challenge, so much things to do, so much emergency and so much existential drama around me all the time that I notice I have to do more work on myself to really, if I want to step up to that, and I have to actually do more exercise myself, do more meditation and do more shadow work, because as long as I move within my own comfort zone, I can be under the illusion of being like pretty much sorted. But as you mentioned, when life challenges us, then I have to ask that question again.
I got most of what you said. Do you want to just encapsulate the question so I've got that clearly?
Yeah. You want me to repeat a question?
Yeah, just. Or you were just sharing?
Yes, I think I was more sharing. I think maybe a question that is coming up for me is, I don't know. I think for me it's at the moment I'm having a very stressful job, and I think much of energy or where I get the energy from is a lot that I feel that the work I'm doing is very meaningful. It's I'm dealing in an arena of existential need and crisis, and I can often see that I can make a difference just on a one-to-one basis, personal level, every day. But I still have a bit of a sense of that there's still something out there waiting for me. I mean, it's not like that I'm not doing 100% of like that I haven't really found my thing yet. But as an Enneagram Type 4, I also always have to watch out for that trap of always like imagining some other state or some other job or some other country to move to, like that there's something better or more authentic waiting for me, and to actually embrace what I'm doing right now. So I don't know if you're questioning that, you can answer it. Otherwise,
I think the question, Hans, was, what shall I really do? It is a stressful job, which is helping me to grow, but is it really the one I want to do? That's what I heard.
So I have a few comments. So firstly, Hans, just to say, I think what you're doing is awesome in terms of work, and I think it's very tempting people that are kind of committed to their kind of own spiritual practice or whatever, that we were saying in the interview, hide away from the world. And I think we need more people showing up and doing the kind of work that you're doing. You know, the whole refugee situation is probably one of the biggest crises or challenges that we're facing. And I think it's pretty shocking how many people just close their eyes to the struggles that are there. So I think it's really awesome what you're doing. I think it's very, it's probably the opportunity is to see the work and the challenge and the struggle of the work as the place that you're growing. And rather than to see kind of how do you support yourself or find your kind of balance outside of it, to see where the opportunities are to be present and to be with yourself and to show up and evolve whilst in the cauldron of the work that you're doing.
Yes, thank you. Yes, makes absolute sense. So I'm trying my best to do it.
Did you guys hear that?
To do that, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
But maybe not the answer you wanted to hear, Hans.
It's funny. Do you guys realize that you're kind of out of the picture? That we just see Heidi's shoulder. Okay.
So we are in the camera, this camera, while the other one is on. I don't know which computer here is working. Okay, thank you for the reminder. That's us. Because we see us in this computer here and the other one.
Okay.
It's technical. Go ahead.
Hi, I've really enjoyed this, and despite the technical difficulties, the conversation before was really great. And I just wanted to say, both to Alex and to Hans, that what they were talking about being, well, with Alex, it was the point that resonated with me was how we hide. You were just talking about that, how we can, we were doing our own work, our own inner work, but we hide somewhere. Because I think I hid behind this computer screen for a couple of years, just doing audio stuff, And now, last maybe 12 months, I've moved into video, and it's quite a big step, isn't it, to put yourself out there on camera and actually say, "Hi, this is me. This is what I look like today." And I just really appreciated that, because it also what Alex was saying about it takes time to get to a point of clarity about how you want to show up in the world. It's I think for me, it's an ongoing thing, really. I started off thinking, I'm going to help everybody find their life purpose. And that's a lovely thing. Let's all get clear about what we're here to do on the planet. But of course, on a commercial side, that's way too wide, isn't it? It really is way too wide. And I've only recently, in the last year or so, started to focus down and actually have the courage personally to step up into the place that I feel really comfortable working with people, which is those in recovery from addiction. Because that's me, that's my story. I'm in recovery, have been for 15 years now. And yet I hid because it was secret. It was something I didn't want to talk about. It was, that's shameful and I mustn't let people know, or, the stigma of it will just be awful. It was also that I was working in a school, so there was that kind of, conflict between, my own personal story and the fact that I had to keep that side of things anonymous. And now, I don't feel that so much. So I'm kind of, I feel I am stepping up, but it does take that courage to, to put ourselves out there and connect. But when you do, the rewards are fantastic. When you actually do start to make this sort of trust in yourself, in a sense, trust in what you're doing, and try to, and as Heidi says, connect with your tribe, with the people that you want to link with, whether that's on, Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, whatever. With Hans, I just wanted to say, I really related to what you were talking about with this, the work you're doing, which sounds fantastic, with the refugees. I spent last summer on the island of Kos in Greece, because that's where part of some of my family live. I lived in Greece for many years, and I saw firsthand, the refugees landing. No, I didn't actually see them landing, but I saw them there on the island at the beginning of the first real summer. And, the actual situation with the local authorities sort of refusing and saying, it's not our issue, it's the government. And, and the government saying, well, it's the local. And so what happens? The local people step up, and the local people on the island, and the people, a lot of tourists who came especially to on holiday to help, to do what they could to help. So, but I relate to what you're saying about this is such an interesting thing that I can think I'm doing okay here in my own little world behind my computer screen. I'm meditating, and I've made some breakthroughs with this, and I'm doing just fine. And then you find yourself faced, I was on vacation, but seeing these families and children, you know, not in a desperate situation, but not in a wonderful situation, on their way. And it's just got worse, as we know, since then. And you sort of, then you have to rethink, you know, what am I actually doing? What am I personally doing to help? And at that point, all I could do was what I could do there on a, you know, a one-to-one basis, like you say. So I related to an awful lot of this. And I'm very, very new to all this integral stuff. But I have bought a couple of books, and I'm really, really, really interested in it. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? It's a lot. My little,
it's everything.
Yeah,
everything,
just everything about your life. Yeah. But I wanted to thank you, you know, Heidi in particular, because I wouldn't have understood what this is without having, you know, connected with you on the other Aline's calls, actually. So I'm enjoying all of this. So I'll be quiet now, because I do tend to talk a lot when I get excited about stuff, but I've really enjoyed this. And it wasn't a question for Alex, it was just those comments, really. If he can hear us at all. I don't know if he can.
Thank you so much.
No, I can still hear you.
Thank you.
Comments appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aline.
I was wondering, Aline, how are you now in terms of your secret addiction and your job? Are you still in school? Are you still working in schools?
I am, again, working in a school, but in a different capacity. I worked as a teacher for over 30 years, and I took what's laughingly called early retirement 3 years ago now. But I'm now back in a school, but working in a support capacity. So I'm supporting literacy and so on, and not getting involved in the politics of the actual school so much. You know, I go in, I do my job, I support the kids, I come home, and I don't think about it till the next day, which is marvelous. So I have time for my own stuff. So I don't go talking about it where I work, but I'm open about it on social media and so on. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction, I think. Yeah.
I love what Alex said about like making your work, your practice too. It's what I have been trying to do over the last few months, because I'm really more a kind of person. Yes. Because I really like to spend time alone, and I most of the time.
So any other questions anyone's got?
Well, if I can interrupt, maybe Alex, you might want to respond to what Aline said
about the addiction.
About addiction, about just coming into contact with Integral, and she's busting out with enthusiasm. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think firstly, just great that you're kind of coming into this whole integral world. I mean, it's just so rich in terms of knowledge and kind of wisdom, you know, and I don't have a huge amount to offer in terms of addictions. It's not an area that I kind of have a specialism, but what I will say is that I think, you know, addiction's fascinating in the sense that we all have a lot of addictions, things we don't realize we're addicted to. We mentioned technology at the end of the interview, and you know, people also get addicted to their own states and their own patterns and their own habits, and the capacity to challenge those habits and actually kind of discover who we are when we aren't just in what's familiar and what's consistent is actually a very powerful place for change. And of course, when the addiction is to something that's a substance, it's of course all the more challenging because you have a biochemical element to the addiction, not just the kind of psychological elements of that.
Yeah, very true. We're all addicted to all sorts of things, aren't we? Internet included.
Yes.
You agree addiction is a spiritual way. Is Naira?
Naira. Mm-hmm.
Addiction is a spiritual way. What do you think about that?
As its own spiritual practice, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of practice, yeah.
Yeah, one of the hardest parts.
Yeah. Naira's statement about addiction being a spiritual path. Definitely so. I mean, back in the day, we would say we were just self-medicating. We didn't have the spiritual language to express it in such lofty terms, shall we say. But I was very active in Alcoholics Anonymous for many years, and it was supremely helpful in getting me into another space completely.
Yeah.
And so it was a new story to tell myself. Yeah. And I think in some ways it has proved limited, and I'm ready for new stories. But it was much better than the story I'd been telling myself before that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I can just add there, exactly the same thing. You know, I found my spiritual path through getting sober, through AA.
Sure.
Yeah, through, finally connecting with something bigger than me that I could trust. So that's where it all started.
I also trust, and I have had 10 or 8 different practices with masters of psychology to what is about that I smoke, and every time was different. It looks like matryoshka, so I have very deep matryoshka of things.
These are those puppets where one is in the other, and
yes, the little nested dolls.
Russian
yes.
dolls.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, matryoshka. So I am tired. I think now it's time to forget it, to finish, and to go to something new instead of it. And I see only dancing therapy, because in Gardner tests of multiple intellects, I know that my body has very low percent of body movement intellect, and sometimes logical is also low, 50 or 60, and others high, very high. So it seems to me that dancing all the day communicated with body instead with my mind as a psychologist would be much better to me, and maybe help me to transform smoking in profession.
Sounds good.
I hope so. Do you think, is it possible for smoker?
I smoked for 40 years, from about age 15 to age about 55. And I figured it out once that I had smoked 28 miles of cigarettes in those years.
Wow.
1 millimeter at a time. What it did for me was, I don't know. I tried every possible way to quit, and so eventually something worked. That's all I can say. That was reinforced promptly by discovering that I had cancer on my vocal cords. You can still hear. Yeah. And that kind of sealed the deal right there. Well, okay, no more cigarettes. And the amazing thing is, I don't remember any withdrawal, any difficulty, any great nervousness, agitation, any of those usual symptoms that people associate with stopping smoking. It was just finally gone. So I have no idea what the secret is. I can't give you any suggestions because it just happened to me eventually.
Wow.
But my stopping drinking was about as uneventful. I went from drinking most of a bottle of scotch every day to not drinking anything at all overnight. It took a month in the hospital at that point, but I never missed alcohol after that. You know, I got right involved in support groups.
What state of consciousness gives you nicotine? Try to remember now. What desire?
Well, I don't know the technical term, Naira, but I know that no matter what kind of condition I was in, if I took a drag off a cigarette, I felt better immediately.
Energy.
Just immediately.
Energy.
You know, so it was, yep. It's
For
instant,
me,
instant
I just
gratification.
burn energy because it is like fountain. Afraid of stopping smoking, I'll be dancing, jumping all the day. It's different. Everybody has different situations.
Okay. Well, dance all day for a while. Okay.
Yes, do
By
that.
all means.
You won't have time to smoke.
Yeah. So, Aline, how did you do that with the alcohol?
I went to AA. I didn't go to a rehab or any kind of medical intervention or anything. I just went to AA and stopped. It took about 2 months. I had about from October to December. I think I had 2 slips in that time, and then I had a bit of a spiritual experience actually, and have not drunk since then. I can tell you about it if you like. I don't mind, but I don't know if it's kind of the right time to do that on here.
Tell me about your spiritual experience because
You'd like to hear?
Yeah, do.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'd been going to AA for about 2 months. Yes, and I had a new boyfriend. He didn't drink. He wasn't in AA, but he didn't drink. And I thought I had it all sussed. You know, I was, very enthusiastic about the whole stopping drinking and not having to drink this alcohol, because it really was starting to very, very badly impact my life negatively. So I had this new boyfriend, so I thought, this is great. We don't have to drink. We went out for a Chinese meal. We drank tea. This is my new life. I've got it sussed, and you can imagine what's coming. So I was going out with him for dinner, and one evening, and I was very well prepared. I went to an AA meeting beforehand. Then I went to meet him for dinner. And I even practiced in the bathroom mirror before I went and said, I'll just have a Coke, please. I'll just have a Coke, please. And I practiced. That was my answer. I thought I was all sorted. And when we got to the restaurant, and we went to an Italian restaurant this time, right? So what do they drink at Italian restaurants, you guys? So when he asked me, what would I like to drink? I just hesitated that moment too long. And he ordered the wine. So what am I going to do? I'm an alcoholic. I drank it, But I mean, it was ridiculous. And I must have been terrible company that night because, all I could think of was, stupid, why, And it was like half a litre between the two of us. So no good at all. We went to another place afterwards. My glass of wine got spilt. At which point I made my excuses and left. I thought, poor guy, he's not got very good company tonight. And I went home feeling really annoyed with myself. So I slept, and the next morning I was alone at home. My kids were with their father, and I was reading the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the kind of Bible of Alcoholics Anonymous, if you like. And I was reading the part where it says, you just have to be open to the idea of there's something bigger than you out there. So I thought, okay, yeah, I can relate to that. So it's Sunday morning. I'm in my living room. The sun is streaming through the window, and I'm reading this book, and suddenly I get a sense of a thought about my grandmother and my godfather, both of whom had passed away. And I thought, oh, I'll go and look at that for that newspaper cutting about my godfather. He was quite a well-known local artist. So I was looking in this drawer I had, a very messy drawer full of photographs and all sorts of things. And I found this newspaper cutting about my godfather. And my hand hit something harder. So I pulled it out, and it was my Bible that my nana, my grandmother, had given me when I was 5 years old. So get this, it's Sunday morning, right? I'm on my knees in my living room, my nana's Bible in one hand, and I'm actually kneeling next to a papier-mâché temple that my daughter had made for a school project. I don't remember if it was a Buddhist temple or an Indian temple, but it was a religious temple of some sort anyhow, where people go to practice. And I just thought, how many signs do I need, And that was the sort of the afterthought, but I gave in at that point. I just said, please help me, I don't want to mess up again. And I just I started crying, and I just had this, I'm still getting shivers down my spine every time I tell it. I just had this feeling that a huge weight had been lifted. And I got on the phone to the lady who became my first sponsor, and this is after about 40 minutes after I'd stopped crying, and told her, and I said, what do you think? What do you think? And she said, you're very lucky, just hold on to that. Hold on to how you feel now. You'll be able to go back there. And I can. Even now, I can go back there and feel how it felt and know that something bigger than me is kind of looking after me. And, okay, it's been 15 years plus now. I haven't had a drink. So that was my that was my way.
And yeah, you obviously can remember it very clearly. Yes, you feel it still.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I would like
talking inside the relationship with ourselves. How can we nurture ourselves? Yeah. And you did it. Explain that beautifully. First you had compassion with you, or didn't beat you up anymore, and you could sleep at night, and you could accept what came afterwards, and you were open for the guidance.
That's right. Yeah.
If this is not nurturing yourself.
Yes, because my Paul, the groom, he doesn't smoke and doesn't drink. He's so clean without any addictions, and I want to be in one level without addictions.
Who's that?
My friends.
Your boyfriend.
Okay.
And for that, I would like to be ready. I don't want to be rejected only because of one dependence in my life. I have absolutely no addictions.
Except.
No playing, not even for people. Be addicted to
no chocolate?
Oh,
no,
terrible.
chocolate from my childhood. You can't ask me and say, please eat chocolate. No sweet, nothing. I don't need sweets.
Okay.
You're lucky.
Yeah, you are.
Good.
Yes.
Well, having no other addictions puts an awfully big load on the cigarettes to carry. They are carrying all of those darknesses, those things you do not indulge in the cigarettes. It's a biggie.
Well,
It's a biggie, yeah.
actually, I mean, it's. I have my doubts that there is no other addictions. It's like if we look at it only as like substances or playing or gambling, maybe many people are not addicted. But I think we all have so many addictions, like certain types of thinking, certain types of behavior, the way we always, habitually react to situations just to feel safe. I mean, all of that is could be regarded as addictive behavior too, And I personally, I don't have a big problem with substances either. It depends. If it's in the reach of my hands, I have a hard time saying no. But if I don't have it in the house, no problem. I will not go and buy sweets or alcohol, or I don't care. But if it's here, like, I'm probably gonna have it.
I can relate to that very much.
I am not agree. Not many. Not many. They're not special. They're distracted addiction. Drugs and alcohol and cigarettes distract the body, and sometimes food makes body incredibly big, and we should help them. But
yes, but
I cannot understand.
Addiction, computer game playing addiction, also seldom.
Yeah. All sorts of addiction. You know what? I have an addiction. Maybe it's not an addiction, but I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
It is 9 o'clock or something. I haven't eaten anything. And I thought it was a wonderful conversation again, first with Alex. Really great. I liked it. I know him as a very gifted interviewer, and he leads wonderfully his courses and whatever he's doing, it's really great. And to have him as an interviewee, it was an honor.
And strange for him to
be on the other side.
Yeah.
But I think we sort of did it well.
But I do want to put in a plug for Conscious too, if you're not familiar with it.
Do I know?
I just found it.
Well. Yeah, and the monthly price is very reasonable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, the monthly price. Yeah, really, and the quality is high. But he has a lot of sponsors, and we have none. So please, I mean, Aline, you already support us. I try to tell to the others, everybody, send us a little bit of your. The spiritually in Italian.
The pocket change, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I thank you very, very much, and we see you next week.